Good morning again. I'd like to welcome onto stage now fillyng-jensen, who's the CEO of Nofima in Norway. Øyvind, I'd like to start by asking you if you could just very quickly describe your journey to your current position as CEO at Nofima, and also just to say a little bit about what Nofima does and what your priorities are going forward.
Well, my background is in veterinary science. I have a PhD in veterinary pathology, of all things, studying why animals die, and a deep basic interest in life sciences. I moved from my PhD studies into academia with a very, very short academic career as an associate professor in veterinary pathology. From there, I started in the biotech industry. I'm part of building a company based on a unique technology in the mid-80s, involved in cell separation, transplantation, immunology, molecular biology, and so forth. And after 10 years, I started running a medical service laboratory. From there to pharmaceutical industry, to aquaculture. And for the last 10 years, I've been involved in the research area. So a wide journey to where I am today. And the second question is...
Nofima, what is the focus for Nofima?
Nofima is an applied research institute. We work directly with the companies, and our main objective is value creation for the clients. We are a non-dividend paying enterprise, privately and publicly held, and the money we make is reinvested into R&D and competence building and high fashion analytical instruments and infrastructure.
And if you look at the investments you're making or the allocation of money today from the institution, where are you seeing the primary opportunities, and what type of opportunities are you investing money into?
The main investment opportunity is in the people. It's to continue educational and training and competence building part of the organization so that we are able to cater to client needs going forward. To do that, we also need funds to secure investment in top infrastructure and to maintain the buildings we have, but not over-invest in hardware. That's probably somebody else who should take those investments.
One of the things that came up in discussion yesterday was the difficulty in Norway, where you have the challenge of a very large oil and gas sector competing for talent, and you talked about people, for people perhaps going into the BioMarine or aquaculture industry. How do you see that as being, do you see that changing? And second, linked to that, how do you attract people away from oil and gas into BioMarine?
By telling the nice stories, how do you attract them? That there is career opportunities within this sector, that there are good jobs and good careers to be had and to be developed. But you have to start early. You have to work together with the industry, the academic institutions, and with the companies to attract and to tell the people that in this sector you have a nice and good job which gives you an opportunity for your future personal development in that. So next week, on next Thursday, we have an event for young people coming out of the universities and a arrangement with major salmon producers, feed companies, Nofima with the universities, telling the people about careers. And this is the way you have to do it. You have to talk it forward and not underestimate the way this industry shall develop.
And in terms of the universities, are the universities now structuring specific programs as part of the study programs to develop this talent?
Unfortunately, we see that some of the universities are actually retracting the career opportunities, even though this field is booming. So this is has something to do with the incentive systems of the universities, where they are being paid for where the students apply, and it might also have something to do with the interaction between academia and the industry. And I think the universities would gain a lot if they could draw on the forces from the industry and integrate that into their education, so that the industry in the end will get people they want to have with the skills that they need. But that is a two-way street.
So you're talking then about a dialogue between industry saying these are the type of people that we require with this type of skill set, and then actually inviting the universities to again structure their study programs to reflect that.
Yes, I think that's future, because we are educating people for the future, and it means that you have to have a framework of academic research, but you also have to have a foot in the industry that the students will come out of. And then you have to adapt to the way people are working today, which is completely different from when I did my studies 30 years ago. I see my son multitasking, using all kind of electronic equipment, and I say, why don't you read a book? And he just says, we don't study that way anymore. So, but he's more clever than I am, so probably he's doing something right.
That I doubt. Final sort of two questions would be, the first one is, you have had a long career, you have a successful career, you're now CEO at Nofima. If you were sitting in front of a group of young aspiring graduates who are all looking for their first job on leaving university, what would be your one piece of advice to those people?
Follow your heart and have fun. If you go into a job where you don't think that you will have fun, you will not thrive, you will not be positive, and you will only talk your job downwards, and you will have a struggle. So if you don't go into a job with your heart, then you shouldn't do it. And if you are unhappy, change your job, because if not, the job will change you, and that's not to the better for either.
Well, thank you very much indeed. I'd like to turn to the second person up on stage, who's João Azevedo, who's the CEO of Soja Portugal. João, I'd like to start by asking you the same question that I asked Oyvind. Perhaps if you could tell me a little bit about your journey to becoming CEO of your company, and also what your company does. Because when I asked you the question yesterday, I got a surprising response.
Well, in first place, I'm graduated in economics. I have an MBA in marketing, and I'm working in the agribusiness for the last 18 years. I didn't start my career in Soja Portugal, but I really started in soja industry, working the grain and having the oil and the soy mill. At the moment, I'm the CEO of Soja Portugal, and Soja Portugal has two main activities that are directly linked to the sea. One, we process and valorize the fish byproducts from the fishing industry and from the canning industry, mainly in Portugal and Spain. Actually, at the moment, we are doing more in Spain than in Portugal. As you know, it is very important, the freshness of the byproducts. You have a limited capacity in terms of kilometers to make a good product. And this is one of our business units. And we work mainly with tuna, sardine, mackerel, and codfish. And at the moment, we are making mainly fish meal, between 55 and 75% of protein, and fish oil. And we have a wide portfolio of fish meals, and we are also working on fish meal of monospecies. mainly for pet food, okay? And we are exporting our final products for all Europe. The other business unit that we are running is fish feed. Okay, we are at the moment building a new facility, a new factory. We want to triple our dimension, but at the moment what we are doing is mainly fish feed for sea bream, sea bass, a little bit about trout and sturgeon also.
And so despite the name,
Yeah.
you don't have any soya at all
Yeah.
in your business.
At the moment, you know that we were founded in 1943 during the Second World War, and when our company was founded to work the soya bean. But, well, as I told you tomorrow, I have a friend of mine whose name is Bald. And he uses to say, when I was born, my father called me Bald, and I was really bald. Then, as I grew up, I was not bald anymore, but now he is again. So he didn't change his name, and it is good that he didn't change his name.
I guess you're a little bit younger than me.
Yeah.
I'm bald and you're not.
Well, I'm running fast.
You're now a CEO of your business, and you've moved very quickly into that role, and you're still very young. What are the lessons you've learned along the way that have helped you to get into the position that you now are in?
Well, you must have clear what you want to achieve, because you know that it is not an easy task. I love what I do, but I don't think that you just have good things in your job. There are sometimes things that you must do that are not pleasant to do. And so I think that the first thing that someone must ask himself if he wants really to be a CEO is to look at what a CEO has to do. Well, and after that, you must have a clear vision for what you want to do, have leadership, and make things happen. And I think that having a vision, having a clear strategy, leading your team is what you need to do to lead and run a company.
And you used the word vision. If you could take the crystal ball that sits beside your bed at night and you could look forward 10 years specifically for your business, how do you think your business will look in 10 years' time?
Well, 10 years is a lot of time, but we have some big challenges in our company, and I hope that we can face these challenges and that we can meet our goals. And just to talk about for example, our business unit regarding the processing and valorization of byproducts, you know that the fish byproducts are a limited resource by definition. And so the business is to take more value from the fish byproducts. Sometimes, when you say taking more value, it doesn't mean just to make more expensive products with the same byproducts, because if you have higher costs, the value added is the difference between the profit. It's the profit. It's not if you are selling a very high price final product. But we must move fast, because you must add value, because if you can add more value to the byproducts, you will be more competitive to the canning and to the fishery industry. And the people that will have the raw material will be the people that will lead this sector. And so we must and regarding fish feed, we want to enter in new species, and in order to enter in new species and develop new products, you need the correct partners, and you need the correct core competences, and we hope that we get it. And even if you want to move in the same species to another country with probably some different natural conditions, you must adapt your products. And so, at least, I would say that regarding the fish byproducts, we should be not just in the feed products, but probably in higher value-added products. And regarding fish feed, we want to triple our dimension, other countries, and other species.
There's a lot of passion in there.
Yeah.
You talked about vision as well. What drives you to get up in the morning and go into your office and start work? What's that inner passion that really, really spurs you on?
Yeah. Well, this passion is shared by all my team. And we share with our clients and suppliers. We have a vision that we really believe that we can achieve. And I think that there is no other way to have a happy life. You must believe what, and if you believe, you must do what you want to do. And when you wake up in the morning, you just need to do what you think that you have to do. That's it.
João, thank you very much indeed.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
James. James is the CEO of Sapphire Energy. I wonder if you, it's the same question as to Oivind and to João, if you could maybe start by just introducing yourself, describing your journey to becoming CEO, and also what Sapphire Energy does.
Sure, thanks for the question. I joined Sapphire earlier this year, and prior to that was in what I would call the industrial biotechnology industry. My previous company was a platform technology company that produced industrial enzymes. And within that area, we focused on agricultural industries. We focused on the feeding of monogastric animals, chickens and pigs. We focused on the corn ethanol industry, the detergents industry, et cetera. And it was really about taking a technology that we had developed over time and applying it to a number of different industry segments. And in joining Sapphire Energy, it's really about leading the same process. It's about saying, using industrial techniques with a biotechnology platform, what industries can we solve problems for? And Sapphire, which has been around for 7 years, has invested in 2 core technologies. One is the ability to grow microalgae and create biomass using open pond systems. We have our headquarters in San Diego, and we have 100 acres of ponds in New Mexico, in the southwest of the US, where we're able to cultivate algae for extended periods of times. We have ponds that have been productive and producing biomass for over 2 years at this stage, in order to produce biomass at very low cost. In the past, we've also focused on then converting that biomass into a crude-like substance that can actually be refined in a traditional oil refinery into various petroleum products, obviously sourced instead from algae rather than fossil fuels. But I look at those as 2 different technologies. And so in coming here, we look at our algae technology, and if anything for us, because we are a microalgae company, but looking at outdoor cultivation, we feel that we can hit a cost point where we can consider not only high-value products, but also what I would consider mid-value products, like the production of protein from algae, in order to complement the existing sources of protein for various animal feeds today.
Part of that journey that you just described is coming from the East Coast to the rather nicer environment in San Diego. It's a beautiful city. And when we were talking yesterday, you said that you started off, first of all, working in Goldman Sachs on Wall Street. How has that transition been for you, coming from a banking environment and coming into commercial companies?
Well, I think it comes down to some of the answers that you heard earlier about doing what you love. I think that if you are going to be successful, it is about doing what you love. For me, as an MBA as well, I love the idea of creating business solutions for other customers. And that really is what we look to do in my previous lives. It's what we're doing today at Sapphire. And in terms of San Diego, it's a wonderful place to be. I don't know if it's any better than Cash, where it's also beautiful. But because we have institutions like the Scripps Institute, like the University of California in San Diego, there's also a very rich academic resource that we can draw from, both for our own human capital, but also for the ideas that served as the founding of our company. So it's also more of a technical aspect that allows us to operate within San Diego, as opposed to the sunshine, which is also important for outdoor algae cultivation.
When I asked Zhao the question about opportunity, where do you see the next big step coming for Sapphire Energy in the future?
I think the focus that we have is to have a clear understanding as to what we feel we do, frankly, better than anyone else in the world. And this is what a technology company needs to first understand about itself, honestly, and then think about what problems do we solve using our core resources. And in looking at that, I think that the broader biomarine industry is a very attractive place where, again, our technology can solve challenges the industry may have. I don't see us as a replacement for any part of the current value chain, but I see us as being able to add to the value chain to bring additional traits to a feed ration that may be able to accelerate the growth within a species or that may be able to provide other benefits. It's also in bringing a sustainable source of protein to add to many other sustainable sources of protein that may exist. But given the demand for protein that will likely increase over the coming years, we'll be looking for all potential avenues to feed that demand.
And to what extent are you expanding and growing your business internationally?
For us, I think international focus is critical. Historically, we had been focused more on fuels than on the feed sector, and certainly within the U.S., fuels are viewed as less of a scarce problem than I think protein is. But internationally, we see opportunities. For example, in Asia, we have a partnership with Sinopec in China around a fuels solution. But I think there are many other geographies where protein is seen to be in short supply and increasingly in short supply in the future. So I think for us, our commercial rollouts are more likely to be international than in the U.S. in the near term.
And passion is obviously something that's coming through very strongly from all three of you. What drives you? What gets you out of bed in the morning?
I think the world has some very big problems. I think that we have some solutions, and I think that there's good business to be made from that. It really is that simple. And to your earlier question as well, not every CEO is appropriate for every company. And I think finding that match and understanding what it is that an individual does well, what it is that a company needs in order to be successful as a business, is a critical matchup that we need to find. And I think we have companies at various stages of maturity here, mine being probably the earliest stage on this panel. And I think there it's about creating opportunity where there really isn't a clear roadmap at this stage for us, and that's the process that I look to lead.
And if you were sitting in front of an audience now of potential young graduates looking for their first role, what would be your message to attract them into the biomarine industry?
I think it's about understanding what challenges you yourself can understand in your own life. I don't think that, unlike many industries, what we do is not esoteric, what we do is not ethereal. What we do is very tangible. It's about putting food on the table. It's about satisfying a value chain that brings food to people. And I think if that is something you can connect with, then there's an opportunity to have a very large impact at an industry that is just starting. Agriculture requires all kinds of different minds, from the science to the business to the more technical to the engineering. And so as a student would look at their own mind and understand what they're passionate about, what they're good at, you can find a connection into an industry here where we have the opportunity to do great things over the course of the next 20 or 30 years that the person may be thinking is their career.
And if there was one thing that you would want to see change and happen differently within the industry, what would that be?
I think that really where change could be helpful, it's in having more opportunities for various pieces of the industry to come together and understand how we can work together to benefit both parties. I think this is happening. I think it's happening here. It needs to happen more. To create new opportunities requires many different pieces of expertise. And I think that I know that as Sapphire, we bring a substantial expertise, but it's only one piece of the overall puzzle. What it requires is the opportunity to meet and to understand how can we lock together in order to create an overall solution for an industry that's practical and marketable and profitable and all of the things that we're all targeted at. And I think that's really the opportunity. The opportunity for change is to improve and increase that dialogue.
Thank you. Oyvind, Zhao, James, thank you to all three of you. Thank you very much indeed, and enjoy the rest of the day.